AMN DriveTime is sponsored by Aishin, your trusted and reliable source for aftermarket automotive components and technology. Visit AishinAftermarket.com for more information.
Jason, welcome to AMN DriveTime, sponsored by our good friends at Aishin.
Thanks for having me.
Jason, this is a little bit like, this is not a little bit, this is DriveTime on the road because we're here at the NAPA Now event in the middle of April 2025. And it's a big event here in Vegas, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm glad it's finally here. I mean, all in, this was 2 years of planning. Wow. So tomorrow, when we all head home, it's gonna, I don't know if I'm gonna have that relief or like, what am I gonna do next week? But I'm excited for both.
Fantastic. Well, a lot of planning went into it. I can tell we got here yesterday and a big day ahead today.
Yeah.
So Jason, for the benefit of our AMN audience, why don't you walk us through your career? Talking earlier, you were in the military. I'm sure our audience would love to hear about that. And how you got started with your father-in-law's shop and how you got to NAPA, and walk us through it.
Yeah, so like a lot of kids, I wasn't necessarily built for college. I'm not sure even at the age that I am now that I'm built for it, right? So I really didn't have a plan. And so my senior year, we had a really good football team, and we were, you know.
Where'd you grow up?
Northern Michigan.
What town?
Central Lake.
Okay.
South of Charlevoix, north of Traverse City.
That's sort of God's country up there, isn't it?
Love it, love it. But now when I'm home and as much snow as that they got, I like where I'm at in Atlanta. Yeah, it's right. Perfect. But anyway, we were predicted to go far in playoffs, and we got the brakes beat off of us in the very first playoff game. And so when we went to turn in our uniforms on Monday, there was a Marine recruiter there, and he was like, "How would you like for your football career to not be over?" So I was in. I wanted to be the guy on the poster. So that's what I did when I graduated high school. And my wife and I, we'd already just started dating, and so we went through the Marine Corps together. And I really, at that time, I wanted to be a career Marine. Like that was my thing. And then we were expecting our daughter, and so when our daughter was born, I was in Korea. And that was kind of that was a game changer moment for me. Like, if this is going to be my life, like, what all am I going to miss? And so I just ended up getting out. And I really didn't have a plan.
But you were in the Marines for 4 years.
Yeah, I was, yeah. So I really didn't have a plan. I knew I didn't want to be a police officer. And that's, like, I was an infantry Marine. So not a lot of opportunities outside of that. But work ethic and all of that. Like I would say that the relationships that I have with even my Marine friends are still stronger than most that I have today. The discipline and all of that. But anyway, I got out, and I was working for a contractor, and so my father-in-law, my entire in-laws, they own funeral homes in Northern Michigan, and he had just bought an old gas station next to one of them, and he was gonna knock it down and create additional parking. And NAPA wanted to come into our market, and they reached out to him and they said, "Hey, we'd like to put a store in here. Can we rent this from you?" So he said, "Yeah, right." I mean, he was going to just level it. And so we were there pouring the floor of the sales area, and the general manager of the DC there was up there checking on the troops, and there I was, and he asked me what I was doing, and offered me the opportunity, and I was like, "Oh man, I really don't know a whole lot about this stuff." And he was quick to remind me that I was unemployed, and so that's when I started, July 1st, 1997, as a delivery driver.
Delivery driver?
Yeah, yeah.
And did you go from there to the counter?
Yeah, well, you know what, if you saw me drive the delivery truck from yesterday, I wasn't good at that one either, so I don't know if they put me on the counter because I was a bad delivery driver or if they needed help there. But yeah, I went from there to the counter, and then I actually was a store manager there for a brief period of time, and then from there I became...
What store number was it?
316 Bel Air, Michigan. Yeah, I'll never. Those are the things that you remember forever, just like your first phone number, right?
Right.
So,
yeah.
But then I had a chance to do a territory manager role, and then that evolved into a tool and equipment role. And then in 2003, had the chance to literally come to NAPA headquarters in a very, very entry role. Didn't have a move package, but I really wanted to do more. And with NAPA being the organization that it is, I took a risk. And so took an entry-level role, and my goal is to be the tool and equipment category manager. And so in 2007, I became the tool and equipment product manager, and then things kind of evolved, and I managed categories like our electrical lines, our brakes and undercar lines, and then in 2015, they came after me and said, how would you like to go manage the auto care program? And that was always my dream job. And I'd see, Brett do it, and I was like, I'm customer centric and to work with these partners. And so over time, things have bolted on. So we have the AAA strategic partnership, the Auto Tech program. We're taking on our major account program and our Trax program as well. But it's been a really fun career.
Yeah, what a great ride. So are you more of a tool and equipment guy or more of a parts guy?
I don't really want to say it, but I can't help it. I'm a tool and equipment guy. So I personally don't work on vehicles. I have a wood shop. And so I'm a junkie for tools, right? And a lot of those are, you can use them in both spaces. So, when you look at what Milwaukee's got going on, that's awesome for me. And then when you look at that Carlisle line, holy cow.
Holy cow.
Yeah, amazing. It's way different than what I have in my wood shop, I can tell you that, so.
But do you know certain part numbers still from your career?
Oh yeah, I do. And when I first started it's 28 years ago. The person that trained me, he was the guy that, somebody could come in and they would say, I need to do a tune-up for a 94 Ford Ranger. And he would just look at you and he'd say, okay, cap, rotor, plugs, and then he'd just walk to the back and get it. He wouldn't even use the system. And there's no way you can do that today.
Right.
So, yeah.
My first job was selling tires at Goodyear, and this is in the 80s, in the mid 80s. And I can still remember 175, 75, 14 tires, because that was about 70% of the cars that came in was 175, 75, 14.
The one that sticks in my head is a VT 6299 from Campbell House Field. And we had a 6275. Well, I guess we could do more of that, but anyway.
It's funny. So we're at the NAPA Now event, as we talked about. We're sitting in Vegas. And you've been integral to putting this together. You mentioned it's been a couple of years to do it. So tell us about the goals here. So this will end tomorrow. Yep. And it's designed for the Auto Care network that's 18,000 plus, right?
Yep, right.
So you got a percentage of those 18,000 here. And maybe you could also talk about the Gold program as well.
Yeah,
talk about that.
Well, they're kind of the same, but different because you get this amazing event and then our strategic initiatives with Gold-Certified. But so the thing that I really have liked about this event is it's truly something you just have to experience, right? I mean, I've never seen anything like it in my entire career.
I have not either.
And we do a lot of industry events, right? But I feel like the timing for this is probably better now than it ever has been. These supplier studios, if you think about just coming out of the pandemic or even going through the pandemic, we went from having to just have a handful of suppliers to really having to have as many suppliers to be able to keep parts through the channel, right? And then the technology and the innovation that goes into the parts for these new type vehicles. The one thing that truly probably has been missed is the folks that throw those boxes away, they don't really understand everything that's in that box or what it takes to make that component. So that that's not helping them with making buying decisions for good, better, and best qualities, right? So what I really like about this event is as they walk around, they get an hour with these folks to be able to really talk about those features and benefits that make up these products that truly makes NAPA a differentiated distributor. And so how awesome is it to be able to learn that side of it? And we're going to do these events like they do these events in the industry, and most of the time the suppliers have, their booth.
Yes.
Right? They don't really get time to train, right? And nobody's going to go to an industry event and say, hey, I really want to buy a ton of brakes, right? They're going to buy them when they need them.
Sure.
So this is truly an educational experience. Then they have the opportunity to work on the shop side of their business, and that's what our master classes are for. And we have everything from culture-based sessions to succession planning. They have time with our Auto Care Advisory Council to see some of the things that they work on, better understand how the council serves them, and then obviously they have access to all of our vendor partners.
So for the benefit of our audience watching and listening, these studios you mentioned, the front is sort of kind of like a 10 by 20 booth in Las Vegas at the at Apex. Just picture that.
Yeah.
But behind it are these classrooms.
Right.
So you walk beyond this little bit of a show booth, and you go back for this training. It looks like the seats looks like they may hold 50 or 80 or 100 people, right?
Yeah.
So the studios are a little bit show booth, but mostly training, right?
So they did that, and this is why I think it was so fun, and look, I can't take credit for any of that. I mean, we have great folks that we partner with that really helped us along with that. And I mean, they just, for them to bring this together, like what we've been talking about, it's just amazing, right? Yeah. So the front of these booths are kind of fun. So in the evening, you can use that as your activities, right? I mean, they had all kinds of games going on last night. I mean, just a lot of fun.
Yep.
And then the business is in the back, right? So today, what they're doing is they're moving from one studio to the other. So, and then tonight, they'll bring out the fun again. So truly a pretty awesome experience.
Yeah.
So, and everybody that I have talked to so far has just been blown away by it, just because it's truly unique. It's never been done. And so that's what makes it kind of cool to be a part of.
I've never seen anything like it, and I've traveled for 40 years in this industry, right?
Yeah.
So what's the profile of a shop to become a NAPA Auto Care Center? And what attributes of these shops deliver on the NAPA principles of convenience, trust, and peace of mind? And I mentioned it before, but I think it's more applicable here.
Yeah.
Maybe talk a little bit about the gold shops.
Yeah, I think that'll probably better lend itself into the two-step process, right? Because we offer two platforms in NAPA Auto Care. So listen, I mean, at the end of the day, our stores control who becomes a NAPA Auto Care member. We have a team here to support them. We do have qualifiers out there, ASE certification being one of them, stocking lines being another one. Stores have their own, right? I mean, we want to make sure that their partnership is solid, and that's somebody they want to continue to expand with. But for the most part, it kind of starts there, right? They have this relationship already. I mean, we offer them a national warranty. They do get a rebate.
And you do better if you have an ASE tech, right?
Always.
Because there's less comebacks with ASE. You
Right.
mentioned that earlier when we were together.
Yeah, so our council is the one that actually developed the Gold-Certified program. And so the reason why that came into play is they wanted to kind of separate the herd and say, okay, let's get our top auto care centers that want to continue to stretch and strive for more. But that's always a motion, and so you got to put some data around that to support it. And so when we developed the Gold-Certified program, we developed it with our Auto Care Council, and then also with our development team, so that we could put together something that would make financial sense, business sense, but also develop it to where all members could participate, no matter how big or how small, right?
Yep.
And the cool thing about being a part of that journey is we do not have the say in who becomes a member of NAPA Auto Care, but we do have the say in who becomes a NAPA Auto Care Gold-Certified shop. And the reason I say that is it's the best way that we can deliver a consistent consumer experience. So we put together features and benefits. So here's what you have to be doing. This is your criteria, I should say. You put together your criteria, and the criteria matches a benefit. And there's a list of them, and I mean, we have brochures out on the floor, but there's like 10 criterias, and each one of those criterias matches up a benefit, so that for our teams and our shops to better understand. I did a Gold-Certified presentation for a shop owner just this morning before I came over here. For starters, 1 year in the NAPA Auto Care program, 2 years as a shop owner. And the reason for that is before we even enter into a Gold-Certified conversation. We want to make sure that they've had time in the business to really understand the back end and the front end, right? A lot of our shop owners, they understand how to fix cars, the back end, but the business part of it, we want to make sure that we already have a good partnership there. And that the 1 year as a NAPA Auto Care member, they've had a year to experience what auto care is and what the program side of it is. So that's just an example of it. Then one of the requirements that we have is that a Gold Certified shop has to have a Master Tech or ASE Blue Seal. And the reason for that criteria is the benefit of a Gold Certified shop gets a 36-month, 36,000-mile warranty as opposed to our normal 24, okay? And the reason why we can give a Gold Certified shop more is because ASE Master Techs have less comebacks, and so when you have less comebacks, you can give them more, okay? We give them marketing funds, and then they also have to be using digital vehicle inspections. And the reason for that is the whole intent behind Gold is obviously always put a fence around your best customer, create a level that others strive to be a part of. And then how do you build a consistent consumer experience from one independent shop to another? So for us, it's all about doing business with your customer and the way they want to do business with you. And digital vehicle inspections do that. So, we've got to get away from the clipboards and kicking tires around this, right? Mr. and Mrs. Consumer want to communicate with you through text messages and pictures of things that need to be fixed on their vehicle. And so DVI plays a big role in it. And that's just another example. They have to be co-branded with us because if they're co-branded with us, we are going to put them at the top or list them at the top in our referral program on NAPA Online. And then there's other benefits criteria that they have to have. The biggest thing that we just changed is when we announced our Team Tool rebate, Gold Certified shops get an enhanced Team Tool rebate. And I think that's why we're getting a lot of questions over at our booth about, okay, maybe now it's time to be a Gold Certified shop, which is great.
So you mentioned earlier, by year end 25, you'll have a little more than 800 Gold shops.
Yes, yeah, hopefully more.
Is there the more the better in that category, or is it, it can only be so big maybe?
So we also have over 5,000 co-branded NAPA Auto Care Centers across the country. And if you think about that, that's the largest brand in the automotive aftermarket. And it's all with independents, right? So Gold Certified's a little bit different. I would love for every shop to be Gold. I'd love for every shop to be a NAPA Auto Care Center.
Sure.
I'm more focused on quality over quantity. When your brand is 100 years old and you're setting on the journey for the next 100 years, it's more important today than ever to put that brand on a shop that you want to be branded with. And those are the people that are investing in their cultures and investing in their teams and the technology and the innovation and the training that it's going to take. So I'm more of a quality over quantity guy. But and with Gold, it's a little bit different because they have to hit those criteria. They can't just become a Gold Certified shop. That's kind of a long way around the barn to get to your question.
That will make sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So, can you describe the NAPA Apprenticeship Program? How is it structured, and what are some of the key training elements to it?
Yeah, so that's a really, really easy question, a longer answer. But I'm passionate about this space, right? And so, first and foremost, it needs to be noted that this apprentice program was put together by Pete McNeil and Jake Sorensen. Pete McNeil owns the shop, and Jake Sorensen is the lead tech. They're incredible guys, and they're here at this event. They helped us build this. They put it to work in their own market. And they made a call and they said, hey, will you come out and look at what we have? And so, I was actually reluctant.
Where are they headquartered? Where are they based?
They're in Sandy, Utah, just outside of Salt Lake City. Okay. And they're stand-up individuals, and they had the same problem, right? I mean, they couldn't keep techs, and so, Jake, his story is amazing. I'm not even going to go into it because I'm hoping one day you guys will want to hear Jake's and Pete's story, and I won't blow it for you. But anyway, they put together their own apprenticeship program. And, Jake was kind of the one that was pushing Pete to do it. And then once Pete saw the vision, they did this thing together and they just created it. And I was reluctant because I was like, I really want to help in this space. I don't want to just talk about it. I don't want to just be one of the other people that loves to come to an industry event and not have a solution for it, because we love to do that in this industry. But I went out there and I was like, well, they found an answer to their situation, but how would you scale that across 18,000 shops across the country? But a good shop owner, proud of it. It was worth the trip. So when I showed up and I saw that, they had the lieutenant governor of the state of Utah there, and they have a program that's been vetted through the Department of Labor in the state of Utah, and I was able to see their apprentices and see what Jake and Pete had put together. It was like the light bulb moment, right? And so we spent the next 2.5 years building it out. And so the way that it works is it's a 9-stage program. It's designed to be a 2-year program, but it's competency-based, which is different than a lot of other training programs, meaning if an apprentice doesn't master a skill set, they don't move on, as opposed to maybe other programs where, hey, we have an end date in mind, and if you didn't get it, then we're moving on. So it works using training videos that we have with all of our partners, including our Auto Tech program. And it starts out as basic as checking tire pressures. And then when they complete the program, they will end up with 4 ASE certifications. So it uses our online training, it uses our training LMS, and then it has actual real time in the shop working with a mentor. Varying levels along the way, and we've had some apprentices complete the program in 14 months, and then we've had some that, I talked to a shop owner yesterday that has 3 apprentices in stage 4, and so they're almost there. And we had our program approved by the Department of Labor nationally, so if anybody is eligible for maybe some additional funding, they certainly can take advantage of that. But we also provide a toolkit that we provide the shop at a landed cost. And then we encourage them that when your apprentice graduates the program, they give them those tools. The toolkit is a 350-piece count that was built by our NAPA Auto Care members. So it's not Jason saying, hey, I think you need this, or, it's not something saying, hey, we're looking for something to market a count. It was actually, we have never had anybody come to us and say, you don't have enough stuff. This is exactly what a young apprentice needs. And so it took a long time to get that journey, but it's been extremely rewarding. And so to be able to say, hey, we have a solution to it. We have 2,000 apprentices working in the NAPA Auto Care network right now. Yeah, so when we stand up at industry events and we hear shop owners say, we need technicians, what are we gonna do, what are we gonna do? We flip the switch on them and we say, hey, you can fix your own problem and you can build your own culture. And the nice thing about it is when these individuals complete this program, if they have any bad habits, they got it from you. And so it's been a lot of fun. And then when you bolt on things like what our marketing department is doing with the YES program, and then when you see that Carlisle product, look at where NAPA is going with this. The next 100 years for this company is going to be amazing.
Would you like to talk a little bit about Carlisle?
I will tell you what I know about Carlisle. I know you folks have talked to Carlisle, right? Or do you have them on your list?
They are on the list. We have not. I have not spoken to them yet.
Here's what I can tell you about Carlisle. So, I've seen what you've seen. I'm a tool guy, as I've told you. I have to have a conversation with Stephanie. That'd be my wife, because there's a Carlisle toolbox coming to my shop. I have to have one. When there
was about 5 choices out there. Which size did
I think there's even more than that in the entire line. But when I went to the YES event, just before this event kicked off, and we had the Carlisle folks there, and to watch these kids come off the bus and walk through the gate and gravitate to that. I mean, it was a color. I mean, I'm not a marketer in that space, but they nailed it, right? I mean, and they had all the stuff, right? I mean, they had the tolerances on the ratchets and all of that. And I mean, it was awesome. And so when you look at their setup out here, I mean, you couldn't even get in that booth last night. Right. I mean, so I was lucky because I got to walk the floor before everybody showed up. Right. And to hear the technology and just, I was listening to Joe tell us how they came up with the paint and working with our partner at Sherwin-Williams and making sure all of the manufacturers of our Carlisle are using the same paint, not just their own code. I mean, they have pulled out all the stops on that. So it's exciting. It's really, really exciting.
Yeah, it's slick.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Jace, it is tradition on DriveTime to do something we call lightning round.
Oh, wow, okay.
So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and you're going to give me a quick answer.
Is this where I get fired?
No, you don't get fired. Hardly.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
What is some of the most rewarding singular aspects of your role as VP of Auto Care? Because it sounds kind of like a dream job to you.
Yeah.
What really brings you a lot of pleasure? What's the most rewarding part of it?
Easy answer. The team I have the privilege to work with every day in the Auto Care, Auto Tech, all of our programs. They are amazing in how hard they work for our customer. I can't say it enough. I have the best team I could possibly ask for.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be? What would you use it for?
I would like the superpower to put me in a spot instantly. So I would never have to fly again, and I'd never have to drive or sit in traffic. And if I did drive, I'd be driving because I want to drive, and I'd be driving like a really cool car somewhere. But if I had to be somewhere, I could just be there.
That's a good one. That's a good answer.
That just came to me.
That's a really good answer.
Yeah.
Really good answer. So one more, last lightning round for you.
Okay.
I think I know what the answer is going to be, but I'm not going to tell you what I think it is. But
okay.
Share a habit or a routine that's essential to your success each day.
Habit or routine? Exercise.
I knew that was going to be the answer.
Yeah, exercise. That's the best way for you to really clear your mind.
Yeah.
Exercise. And I will tell you, I'm a work play guy, and so events like this. But I have a wood shop. I love to work on things like that. But exercise, it really helps you clear your mind.
You and me both.
Yeah.
Jay, it's great to have you on AMN DriveTime, sponsored
Thanks for
by
having me.
Aisha.
This was a lot of fun.
Glad to have you, man.
Yeah, cool.